What's good, y'all? You already know what this is about. This is about Jamal White, and this shit has got to stop. It's got to stop. I read so many stories of children missing, and in that video, you can clearly see that they was stalking and looking for someone. And I'm gonna bring out the reason why I'm saying that. Now, before I get into that, I just want to say I hope that they find this young man whole and alive, and he get returned to his family. That's my hope. That's my. And now, this white Jeep had four men in it, and the description is they had on all black with masks and hoods, and they had a gun. My question is, why did they even have a gun? Why do you feel the need to pull a gun out on a child in order to get this child into the vehicle? And I can't even play the video. I've heard the video one time, but it almost brought me to tears because this he's crying out for his father, and the father is what he knows as his protector, and no one was there to help him. His father wasn't there. I'm not saying this, we're not blaming his father, but just saying, like, it makes me reflect on all of the stories I read with girls, young boys, grown women, grown men missing without a trace. Also, which is very infuriating, is that the police department didn't put out an Amber Alert until 4.5, 5 hours later. And they had already known that the boy was missing. There was video camera, there were eyewitnesses. And so they had the information. And from my understanding, Amber Alert is supposed to go out as soon as they get the details. Excuse me. As soon as they get the details. And they didn't do that. So, in a way, it shows you that we, as black people, we can't even depend on them, because had that been a white, blonde little boy, they would have sent the National Guard in. The hell with an Amber Alert. The whole world would have known. That's just my opinion. And so, as in the black community, we have to do better ourselves at watching over our children. Understanding, man, we live in an evil ass world. We live in a world that is the house of Satan. We live in a terrible, evil world where there are things going on that you don't want to believe that they actually are going on. There's stories coming out about, organ harvesting, human trafficking. And these type of stories you don't want to believe, but you need to believe, because this is the place we live in, a wicked place. This is a wicked place. And so the only protection you have, number one, is to live righteously. Number two, watch over your children. We don't live in a world that when we were growing up or our parents was growing up. This is a totally different world. It's crazy because the ability of technology makes it easier to track and communicate with people, but then you still have all of these people still coming up missing. So I look at it like it's an operation. This was about 2 months ago. It was a sister, I can't remember the state. Maybe somebody will remember the state, where a man walked up and tried to snatch a woman. Excuse me. He tried to snatch a sister's son, out her hands and run away with him. There's an older video. I'm going to try to find it, it's a black community. There were two Africans, right? And let me just go back. The reason why, I don't want to forget the point I made, that The description of these men are that they were black. Let me say that again. The description of these men was that they are black. So let me go back to the story I'm talking about. It was about 2 or 3 years ago, probably even longer ago. This community tracked down 2 men that had been following a young sister. They happened to be 2 African men. They pulled them out, had them on the street, sitting down, you know what I'm saying, doing what the community is supposed to do. But it was 2 African men that were stalking this sister, trying to snatch her off the street. It's a lot of stories like this, y'all. But what happens is it hits the news, but you never hear about the end result of where does the rabbit hole go? Who is fronting the money for these people to come and hunt black people to steal them off the street? There's another video. It's a very old video, probably like 4 or 5 years ago, where somebody found a van. It was sitting in a parking lot, and when they opened the van up, the van had cages in the inside of it, and it was soundproof. Like, you don't want to believe that these type of things are happening, but they are happening. They are happening in real time. So you have to be vigilant and watching over your kids. You have to be, I'm going to say it again, you have to be vigilant and watching over your kids and not letting your kids go with everybody, be with everybody. This is the world we live in today. It's got me, second guessing letting my 13-year-old son go swim with his friends. Where they going to swim is where we used to stay, so I'm familiar with it. And him and his friends, all 3 of them, they're young men. They're entering into high school. So, it made me second guess that when usually I wouldn't. You know what I mean? Usually I wouldn't care, but I have to second guess it, and I have to set a parameter. Okay, when you going, when you being back, we have to have all of that groundwork laid out, because you just have to be wise and vigilant. That's it. Because this is crazy. This is crazy. And it's so sad to, hear that video. It's horrifying to hear that video and hear that the way that boy screamed for his father. But who is paying these people? Obviously, there is a bigger thing going on. And I've said this from the first video I made 5 years ago about missing black women, that it seems like it's an operation. It don't seem like, this person got kidnapped, this person got kidnapped by individuals. It seemed like it's an operation going on. And this one is clearly that. I don't know any details about his father. I don't know the lifestyle. I don't know. But you can speculate and say, well, maybe it was, it was targeted. Like they targeted that young boy. Because I asked the question, why did they have a gun to get a 7-year-old, 180 pounds? Why did they need a gun? I'm not 180 pounds, 80 pounds. I'm sorry. Why did they need a gun? And it's 4 of them. You need a gun to overpower a child? It doesn't make sense. It's not adding up, right? I don't know no details. I only know what I've seen on the news. And I do know that the police department put out an Amber Alert 5 hours later, when they had already knew that he was missing. It was certified. There was camera, verified. There was witness, verified. And it took them that long to do that. That lets you know they don't give about us. Gotta watch my language, unfortunately, because all of my videos get flagged. Yeah. But this is an important issue. Black people gotta stand on their 2 toes. 10 toes. Black people gotta, become unified again, because it's no way, if we're unified, that people can go into our communities and steal our babies. It's no way that's supposed to happen. It's no way that could happen. 9 times out of 10, a black person can't even walk in a white neighborhood, can't even be in a white neighborhood without somebody coming and questioning him. You know what I'm saying? Can't even be in a neighborhood where you're supposed to be and you stick out like a sore thumb. That's how it should be when people come into your community. Not on no gang stuff, but let's just say, look, maybe we do need gangs, righteous gangs, to police our communities, to patrol our communities. Maybe we do need that. Maybe we do need that in our community. All of this tough talk and rah, rah, rah and fighting your brother, maybe you need to fight for your people. But it is definitely something going on, and it's definitely something organized, and there's definitely people who are footing the bill, who are paying people to go out and do stuff like this. These people are not by themselves doing this. There's a trail that goes up to higher ups, bigger people, people with money. I promise you it is. And I don't like to be the person to say, be a conspiracy theorist, but we got to deal with reality, y'all. We got to deal with reality. A lot of y'all don't want to deal with reality. Y'all don't even want to deal with the fact that a lot of these celebrities be doing all of those things behind closed doors, like P. Diddy and all that. A lot of y'all don't want to deal with that. You just say, oh, I love their music. A lot of black people are dumb as hell. A lot of y'all are dumb as hell. Because you don't care and you rather live in La La Land. While somebody is preying on our people, you rather live in La La Land. While somebody is preying on our children, you rather live in La La Land. You rather live in a fake world that you think is reality, and it is not. What happened on that camera, that's reality. And this happens, thank God it got caught on camera. This happens probably a lot more than we even know. I bet it does. I'm sure it does happen a lot more than we even know, because there is no camera footage. There is nobody that survives and makes it and says, this is what happened to me. There is no one that can tell their story. This is messed up, y'all. This is really messed up. It saddens me to know that even with this situation, we're still going to have this happen to brothers and sisters, to our sons and daughters, because of ignorance. And because you're too damn worried about what Cardi B is doing, and too damn worried about what this one is doing and this one is doing, instead of looking at what is actually happening to your people. And then now, once it happens to you, now you're on social media saying, can you please help me? Some of y'all won't even share a missing post. I seen some dumb bitch say, why are people posting missing posts? What can we do? What we supposed to do with that? Like, what we gonna do? Why does that even matter? Especially if you have children. Why does that even matter? I mean, why does that even matter? Some of our people are so ignorant and stuck on themselves that it doesn't matter until something actually happens to them. Then they get it. You know? I'm sorry, y'all, but it's infuriating. And when you think about something like this happening to your children and how helpless you would feel, it makes you even madder and more upset for the parents of that young boy. It makes you even more upset, And That it is what it is, man. But as a community, the solution to this type of thing happening to our children is to become righteous and more unified, and stay vigilant and watch over your children. Stop being so loose with what your children do and just open the door, let them go outside and play. We in a time where you need to be supervising your children. This is the time we living in where you need to be. That was in broad daylight. We're not talking, you know how the parents used to say, make sure you make it in the house before the lights come on. Like, we literally could go outside. Me and my boys, we used to go on adventures. I mean, I'd be all across the city, on foot, on bikes, through the ditches. Hell, we even went underground. Like, we came from a different time where we was outside. These kids ain't outside like that. These kids is on tablets. These kids don't got, they don't got that experience. They don't got that street smarts. You need to be watching over your damn children. You need to be supervising your children. You need to know where your teenagers are going to be at from point A to point B, from the beginning time to the end time. You need to know these things because there are people preying on our people.